don't make us who we are. So I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Mentorship Monday with Michelle and Maren. Hi, Maren. How's it
Hello,
going?
Michelle. Good. How are you? Happy
Oh, I'm so
Thanksgiving. Was
good.
your Thanksgiving good?
It was a very quiet one. Maya in the hospital, and Shelby was at her boyfriend's parents, and it was just Rob, myself, and Marcus, and it was really nice. So it was just a nice little quiet. Funny thing is, so we had our Thanksgiving the day before on the Sunday, and it still felt like I was cooking for a whole whack of people. Like it still took just as long, but anyway, no, it was really nice. And the good news is as of let's see, Saturday, Maya is home. She's out of the hospital. So yeah,
That's the most wonderful news ever. I'm sure she's
yes,
so happy to be
yes,
home.
yes.
Good.
So she's still experiencing she had a seizure when she got home, and she said, and this is from Maya directly to everyone. She says thank you for all of the messages, because I shared them with her, of all the people that were thinking about her and thinking about our family. And she's processing a lot of information that she was given, that we were all given, that will help us as we go forward. And she has some outpatient appointments this week. But the long and short of it is that she really would like to share some of her experiences, and really share what this has been like from her perspective, and give some of the spiritual perspective, and sharing about her emotions, her mental health, her physical health, and what she's experiencing. So at some point, we will have Maya come on and share with us, which I think would be really cool to do that.
Yes.
So, and just as a little housekeeping note, just as an update, everyone I've contacted, so anyone that's listening, if I haven't contacted you or we haven't had any interaction, I know I've got, I can't even remember how many now off the top of my head, but there's several people that are needing a reschedule. Some of you do have rescheduled dates that were booked out a little further. And I say this because I know, and I so appreciate how patient everybody is, because life happens, and right now I'm a one-man show with everything. So I really appreciate it. But if I've not contacted you for a reschedule by the end of this week, please reach out to me. But hopefully by the end of this week, everybody should have their Ask Eric and all of their orders and everything, kind of knowing where they're at, or knowing where their new appointment date is. So if you haven't heard from me, you'll hear from me by the end of the week. So that's all my housekeeping today.
Okay. Good to know. That's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I don't know if you've been experiencing this, but I feel like the animals are or have been acting so strange this week. And to top it all off, I had like a weird animal dream where the animals are like even acting weird in my dream. Isn't that weird?
That is very interesting, and certainly, we had a full moon. Which day was the full moon? Do you remember? Was it 17th
Um,
or 16th? I can't remember. My days are blending.
was it Friday or was it Thursday? Thursday or Friday?
One of those days. It
Wait,
may
it
have been
wasn't
Thursday.
Friday. It wasn't Friday. So it may have been Thursday. Or maybe it was
It was last week. We know it was last week,
it
and
was last week.
it was last week. And you're right about the animals, because um we've got cats and a dog in our house, and a snake and a hamster. And
Wait. Oh, a snake. Okay. I thought you said a
Yes.
stink and I was like, what is that?
Stink. We have a stink.
Okay.
Well, I could get into that, but I won't. So, um, we have a snake and a hamster, and everybody behavior has been a little off. Now, for us, we just figured like she's big with the animals, and she does a lot to help care for them and everything, and they're very attached to her. So
Hmm.
for a lot of it, we were kind of thinking, well, Maya's not here, they're feeling a little off, their behavior's a little weird. But our one cat, just as you said this, I'm thinking, our one cat did some really bizarre things this week, like just completely out of her nature, like how she was
Really?
behaving, and not in a bad way, just like quirky, really
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
And when we do have a full moon, the animals in particular are so deeply connected to the energetic shift, right? So, remember when I did a channeling with Eric and Elisa on animals, and I think we talked about this when we did we were talking about the horse a couple
Okay. Yeah.
episodes back, and I remember Eric was saying that cultures way back when would use observing animals, birds, different types of critters, and they would be able to tell, when it was time to harvest. They'd be able, like, between the moon and the movements of nature, but the animals gave them so much information about their safety. Should they move their tribe? Do they need to move their group? What are the behaviors of the animals? So it's so interesting because also, we all have animal spirit guides as well. And we have spirit guides that come in through as a projection of animals for us for different reasons, because the animals carry so many different messages. But what kinds of things did you notice? Like, what did you pick up
Okay.
on?
So throughout the week, I will say I have seen an increase in roadkill. And I don't mean that
Mm-hmm.
in like a negative,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my gosh, the animals are
Mm-hmm.
dying kind of a way, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean it in like what they're like so distracted, or like why are they, what is distracting them to where they're getting like injured more? Like are they not paying attention, or are they in a hurry? Are they like what's going on with why I'm seeing a very large increase in roadkill, particularly raccoons? And then I even saw a fox, which foxes are my spirit guide. And so when I saw a fox laying on the side of the road, I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, and luckily he was actually up on the curb, like in the grass, and so I felt like it was a little more dignified, which made me feel a little bit better. But anyways, so there was that. Okay. Then get this. So I pulled out of my driveway, pulled back in my driveway, pulled out of my driveway, I pulled back in my driveway, and there was a dead bird in my driveway. And upon a inspection, he looked a little flattened. And so I was like, oh no, did I run over him when I was like in and out, in and out, in and out, And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'd be devastated if I killed this bird. So I looked in my security cameras to see what had happened. And so it was like it like records like when there's movement, So I saw my husband was like sitting, he had pulled in and he was taking a phone call. And so he was in his car for like a little bit of time. So once you stop moving, like the security camera shuts off. And then it comes back on again because he backed out of the driveway. And three birds were under his car. So two got out as he backed out, two flew out from under his car. And one of them obviously got ran over and didn't have time to get out of his car or out from under his car. But I thought, that is the strangest thing ever, because this car hasn't been sitting there for a long time. Like he
Mm-hmm.
literally just pulled in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Tesla, and Teslas are really low to the ground. So like
Mm-hmm.
they're really digging under to like get in the car, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't a particularly hot day where they were trying to get shade, and it wasn't a particularly cool day where they might have tried to be getting warmed from the engine, which I don't even know if a Tesla's engine gets warm, but or
Hmm.
battery, or I don't know how it works,
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyways, so it was just really odd that three birds would be under his car.
Well, you know what's interesting? So as you're talking, what they're showing me is like the animals, not all, but they're saying completion of a cycle, like completion, the ending of a cycle. And so they're representing the ending of a cycle, but it's like the animal's GPS system get turned off. And what they're showing me is animals are very tuned into a natural frequency, like guidance. So that natural, flying south. Like there's like a certain thing that they do, a danger, picking up on danger. And what they just showed me with the birds is like the GPS system is turned down. So there's not the same connection. So the behavior might look a little erratic, or they're in different locations that they wouldn't normally be in.
Yeah.
And that has to do with the frequency on the earth, the frequencies that are on the earth. And so having the full moon, and then if we were to look at the collective frequencies and what is changing, the cycle is changing. So it's kind of like that in between space with the frequencies can get a little erratic. And so we're seeing it come out in nature. We'll see it in weather. We'll see it in all kinds of different things, especially right now.
It was a super moon as well. So I'm wondering too if like that, it was, gosh, it was beautiful. It was interesting. It was like very big and close the day before and the day after
Yes,
the full moon, but then the day
yeah,
of the full moon, it was much smaller, but it was extremely bright. It was
it was
so
really
bright.
bright. It was really
Yeah.
bright, and it was definitely it was I don't want to say it was for myself. It was a definitely very busy week, but I did notice that there was a lot of strange behavior, um, like just weird situations. And so, of course, I spent a lot of time in the hospital last week, and there was a lot of very strange situations occurring in the hospital. Just
Well,
behaviors and
they say yes. Yes, that like, oh, like I used to work in a hospital and the nurses would be like, "Oh, it's a full moon. All the patients are,
yeah,
getting like they're all off." Isn't it
yeah,
so interesting that
yes,
like it truly affects us that much?
it does. Well,
So,
and if we understand that we're made up of the same as stars of the moon, we're made up of the same energy, and we have
mhm.
water in the body. And so the moon, the tides, the water, like of course we are affected by the frequencies. Of course that has something to do with our behavior.
I know now I'm like
Yeah.
starting to think, "Oh gosh, was I weird this week? What did I do?"
Yeah, I'm like, was I weird this week? Wait a minute, Michelle. Is there a week where you're not weird, Michelle? Is
Oh,
there a week? Weird is good. Fly the freak flag. Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so then okay, I have two more. The animal. This is so weird.
Okay.
Okay, so the night before the birds died in our driveway,
Yeah.
I like well, or I guess the morning of, I woke up early. It was like 20 minutes before my alarm was going to go off, and I went to the bathroom and I was like, I got 20 more minutes, so I'm going to just, cuddle back in bed.
Yeah.
And so I know I didn't get like my full, like I didn't go into like full REM. Like, so I feel like
Yeah.
that's like when you really get like all the spirit messages and the dreams that are
Yeah.
really meaningful because you're like really at that like theta level of
That's my
awareness.
favorite time. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's how I know. I'm like, if it's
Mhm.
a dream that happened like right before I wake up, I'm like, that was a message, not a dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, anyways, um, so I had this dream that I was like going on this safari. So I was like in like one like a Jeep Wrangler type, car. And we're like, looking at I was with my mom and my sister and we're like looking around at the scenery and stuff. And I like look in the back and like in like a little bag was my dog, my first dog that I had as an adult, and that has passed away. And I was like, "What are you doing in there?" And I pulled her out, and I was like petting her, and just so happy that, like, because obviously she's passed away, so I was like so excited that she was in my dream, and I was just petting her and petting her and petting her as we were like driving along this safari. And then I saw this bald eagle, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen a bald eagle in so long." I've been really looking every time I like look up in the sky and I see a big bird. I'm like, "Oh, I wonder if it's a bald eagle." And it's always just like a hawk. And so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I saw this bald eagle. I see a bald eagle. How exciting." And then I was like, "But that is so strange." The bald eagle was sitting on like a park bench, like a bench that has like a back and the arms, like a wooden park bench. And I was like, "That is just so strange that a bald eagle would be sitting on that bench." And then the bench was actually there was a tree and then a bench. And so then I kind of like turn, and there's this tree, and I'm looking up in the tree, and there's a white tiger, like the white and black striped tiger. And I was like, "That is so weird that there's a white tiger climbing in that tree right there." And he was like
Yeah.
looking at us. And I was like, it just was all like so bizarre. And I woke up thinking, what is up with the animals? Like they all came into that dream, like all the important ones, like my dog, and I even felt her like because she like, there's a spot on my leg that she like taps that I know is
Yeah.
hers. It's
Yes.
actually really cool. It's the sign
Yeah.
language for dog is like you pat your leg. And so she taps me right where you would pat your leg
Oh,
for the
I love
dog
that.
sign. So whenever I like feel a tap right there, I always know it's her. And so
I
so
love
she
that.
was with me like the whole morning. So like I'm like, okay, like this is a real dream. So what did it mean? And I Googled, there was no like
Before
similarities
you
between like,
say,
okay.
can I tell you the interpretation that I'm picking up on
Yes,
before you
please.
say what? Okay. So, so with your, and I want to say with your baby in the back seat,
My
because
baby. She is my
that's
baby.
how she's
Yes.
coming through, is your baby. And she is coming through with the compassion and nurturing of mother and child. Like she's
Oh,
showing you that connection of mother and child, and letting you know with the eagle on the park bench that, also with the tiger, that this is a chapter of bringing everything that has been uh, manifestation, bringing it down to the earth. The eagle is like bringing everything that you have been creating for this time is now coming into the earth. You're putting things into action. Everything is manifesting. The tiger is all about empowerment, and the tree is family. The tree is all about family connection. So this is solidifying everything that's happening in your life right now, and letting you know that it's like a new level, reaching a new level, and it's all that support.
that
That's
is
pretty cool.
so interesting because that was actually the morning of a very important appointment that I had for my son. So that is really interesting. Huh.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
interesting. That makes
isn't that
sense.
awesome?
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. That makes me feel very
yeah,
good. That's so, how do
yeah.
you get that? Because I'm like, I don't know why there's this tiger in a tree and a bird on a bench.
I'll tell you, from the time that I was a child, from the time I could read, I studied dream symbolism, and I think that was just something that naturally always ran through me, because before I even started working with people, I used to interpret dreams with my family. I used to keep dream diaries, um, and that's something that I never let go of with dream interpretation, because I knew the power that I would receive in dreams. I knew that that was something that would always happen, and it was something very powerful for my parents as well. So that's something that always came together, and with very strong belief of what came in a dream. My father would get his best validation through dream time.
Mm.
And, sometimes a situation would present and he would come forward the next day and change his mind about something completely because of an experience. And they were very powerful and they always validated themselves with symbols and signs. So I really grew up with that, so I think that information is just a nice open line of pulling that in. And it's so helpful when
Yeah.
we really, the more we pay attention to that symbolism and we reach for it. And here's the beauty, because yes, we can Google the symbolism and we will get these pieces of truth. And I think that's an excellent way to, if you're just starting to interpret your dreams or you're working through that, use that to kind of give yourself the foundation, but then tap in with your higher self and go with your knowing and with your intuition to what that means to you.
Yeah.
And the trick is that when you do it for yourself, of course, like anything else, you're going to sit there and say, well, am I making it up because I'm trying to make it fit? But you trust it and keep working with it, because you'll find there's a whole colorful world when we close our eyes at night. Like, really think about it. We disappear at least 8 hours a night. We shut down. We're shutting ourselves down, So what's happening when we shut ourselves down? There's importance. That is not just a plugging in and rest of the body, which we have to have, but there is so much more that is happening. And, really interpreting our dreams and asking for symbolism, using that time of night to say something. But what's so beautiful is that support came in on that day. Specifically, that mother and child bond
Yeah.
came in that day, and to show you how excellent this was, how important it was, and how supported it was, because it is divinely supported. So it's just,
Yeah.
that's an incredible, just very powerful signage all at once. Like, wow.
Yeah. That is crazy. That really is.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
It's really
I
cool.
feel it's really cool. And I do feel so supported from the moon, and it makes so much sense. And now that I think about it, so the full moon was on Thursday night, because I remember
Okay.
I was outside Friday thinking, oh, it's big again. And so
Yeah.
Thursday night was the full moon. And so that was also the day of the appointment. So it's very interesting how the full moon played into that cycle
Yes.
as well,
Yeah.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
interesting. Like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I don't pay much attention to moon cycles, but yet when I like reflect back on my life, like there's like been really big things that have happened on the um, astrology days. I'll say that. Like
Yes.
the summer
Yeah.
solstice is when I
Mm-hmm.
got called to interview for the job that I just took. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something else that happened on like a summer solstice or something like that. And I was like, oh my, and it was like very life changing. And then, like, I don't know, it's so weird and interesting how that all works and
Yeah.
cycles, all that energy. It's real.
It is.
Which makes me feel like we should do a card pull
Yes.
for the full moon, because this energy is real. But I do have to tell you one more story really quickly while you
What's
get your
that?
cards together.
Yes.
So, night of the full moon, my
Mm-hmm.
dog wakes up in the middle of the night, of course, and has to go to the bathroom. And I am opening up, I'm about ready to open up the sliding back door, and I'm like, why is the refrigerator howling? Why does it sound like it's making a howling noise? That's weird. And then I open up the slider and I'm like, why are there dogs fighting down the street? And then I was like, why are the dogs out at like 2 a.m? And then I was like, oh, they're coyotes. Oh my gosh. And I like grabbed my dog really quickly. And of course he's like, oh, I want to play. I want to play.
No. No,
So
not friends, not
excited.
friends.
And I was like, oh my God. So then I had to wake up my husband and I was like, you have to be out there with me. We have to be on guard because the coyotes are out. But
Oh
I've
my gosh.
never, ever seen coyote. Well, I mean, I guess I'm not awake a lot at night, but
Yeah.
I've never seen coyotes in our town, in our neighborhood, anything the whole time I've lived here. And then, but it's like, of course they'd be out on the full moon. And it was the brightest full moon ever. So
That is wild. That is
isn't that wild?
wild on a full
Yeah.
moon.
On the
Yeah,
full
there's
moon, yes.
definitely some potent energy. Okay, I picked 3 decks and they're 3 different decks.
Okay.
So I'm going to give them each a shuffle just while we're talking. And what I'll have everybody do is pick deck 1, deck 2, and deck 3. So you can select a card. And so we'll say, this is your advice for the current energy and advice for, what shall we say, what will help you, what to focus on, what's going on, the message that you need to hear. And I'm using a couple I've not used before. So this should be interesting. Do you know which one you picked now, Maren?
1, 2, or 3?
Yeah. Did you pick
I think I'm
one?
gonna go with 1. I don't know. 1 just sounds. I don't know. I'm overthinking it because now I'm like maybe 3.
That's okay.
But I'm gonna go with 1. I don't know. 3 is really calling my name too. I don't know. We'll see. Okay.
All right. Well, and that's the thing. You might feel called to all pile, or you may feel called to 2 piles. You don't have to stick it with 1 pile. You know, if something resonates for you, then take it, right?
Okay.
Okay, so for pile number 1, your message for the current energy is, discover your life purpose. Discover your life purpose. So the things that are happening right now in your life are directly connected to your life purpose. And what we understand is that a life purpose is not necessarily one thing, it's a combination of things. But think about the root of what you are discovering right now. Think about the connections that are being made right now. Think about those daydreams in the back of your mind, because what you're starting to see is pieces of your puzzle coming together. So what this is telling you is to look for the signs, look for repeating messages, and look for the patterns that are being divinely guided to show you the way. Because if you pick this pile, your lantern is lit, it is dangling in front of you, and the light will continue to show you the path. So relax, everything is okay. Everything is going exactly as planned, even if you don't think so. You are exactly where you're meant to be, and you're divinely guided. That's pile number 1. And it's interesting too, because in this we see waterfalls. There's a gentleman that is playing the violin for somebody that he's in love with, and right above him there's a little bit of a spirit that's kind of above the guy with the violin guiding him. And so this is the pile where there's a lot of things that are happening currently that are connected to what you're divinely here to do. Cool.
That's really cool.
Ooh, that one flew out. Okay, for number 2, we have relationship change. Okay, so for number 2, when we look at relationship change, we're looking at, let's focus on the color of this. So the color of this, first of all, is blue, a shade of blue. And when we see blue, we connect into the throat chakra. So this is about relationship change, not necessarily meaning that a relationship is ending. It means that there's a relationship that is in transition. The first relationship that's coming forward is the one within yourself, changing the way that you relate to yourself, the way that you see yourself, the way that you speak to yourself, and also the way that you express yourself to those that you love, those around you, possibly a partnership. It could be a job that we're looking at. But this does signify change. So what's happening in your life right now is connected to change, and it's change for the better. So even if you are experiencing something that feels difficult, if you're experiencing something that feels like, will this ever end? Is this, when is the light at the end of the tunnel? If you feel like you're having a hard time getting through from day to day, this is here to tell you that those things that are happening that are triggering you, those things that are happening that are making you question where you have been, are actually happening to help you get to go where you are going. It's actually helping you to level up. So this is a very positive card. So what you want to be paying attention to right now is, how am I relating to myself, my current situation? How am I relating to those around me? And so look for those types of signs and really take some time to be aware and mindful of what it is that you truly desire. What's your intention behind, or what's the reasons behind what you say and what you do? Because the relationships around you are changing. That's number 2. And I have a fly in here. There's a fly.
The animals, it is
I know.
seriously.
It's when you start talking, I don't know where, like, there has not been a fly in here. Like, how did you mean? The fly's
I
like zipping
think,
around.
okay, we were definitely meant to talk about this today because I woke up this morning and I sing like a frog song. Like, I can't even think of it now. And I was like, that's weird. I'm singing about a frog.
Funny.
I don't know. Random bit
Maybe
of what's going on in my head.
Your little friend, the frog, is going to jump in your window.
Maybe.
Maybe it's him.
I had 6 of them at my window the other day.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I know.
Okay, so number three. Ooh, number 3 is sound. Another throat chakra.
Did you say sound?
Sound, yeah.
Okay.
So this one is lovely. So for everyone that picked this card, this is all about healing with sound. This is about using sound and frequency to help you do whatever it is that you're looking to do, whether it's sound for your body, toning the chakras, or it could very well be, I'm picking up on certain people that are preparing or are starting to speak light language. So we'll have some individuals that are starting to open up with their light language, and this is a message directly from your guides. Some of them are your cosmic family. I can pick up on some Palladian and Arcturian energy that's present. There's also some people that are directly connected to Atlantis as well, that are starting to bring through some energy through the throat chakra. And so some of this may be in channeling as well. So some people may be heading to a new level of their channeling, but you do have some guides that are present, that are here and assisting you right now with expression, just like we saw in pile 2, with expression, and also with sound, with the sound of your voice, with the sound of the earth, the om of the earth, the hum of the universe. And so this is your message to validate what you're bringing through right now is meant to be expressed. What you're bringing through is meant to be expressed to the rest of the world. And so what's going on in your life right now has a value, and that is meant to share. So this is a validation right now that you two are exactly where you need to be. And so to not be afraid to open up and to share what it is that's coming through you with others. And that is the energy for today.
That is the full moon energy. I love it.
Yes, the harvest moon.
The harvest moon. That kind of all goes with the harvest moon too, I feel like, right? change in
It's a lot of,
relationships is like the
yes,
change of the seasons. And then,
manifestation. But harvesting
mm-hmm,
is, well, exactly
mm-hmm,
what we were talking about with your dream, bringing
mm-hmm,
things in from the ethers, bringing
mm-hmm,
your energetic blueprint, all the manifestation, everything always happens on the energetic level. And then it comes into, just like we have a blueprint for a house, we've got it on a blueprint. Eventually that blueprint is going to be a structure, and that structure is then going to become more and more solid until we are living in it. So this is what's happening with your manifestations and changing your reality, is that you have created with the mind, with the emotions, with the intentions, you have created a structure in the ether. And so that structure is now taking form. And very soon, if not any time now, your reality is reflecting what it is that you've been creating. And when you create one thing, you then expand to something else. And this is the beauty about being on earth and being the creator and having the creator within us. And so this is a time of harvest and manifestation. So,
love it.
yeah. So that's it.
Love it.
That's our show.
I love it.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Michelle, for the card
you're
readings.
welcome.
As always, you're
You're welcome.
insightful. We should do a show on dreams someday because you like that was very impressive how you just knew that. So you'll have to like teach us about dreams one day because that was amazing.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
Yes,
I would love
let's do
to
it.
do that.
Oh, and everyone, guess what next week is? It is Halloween.
Yeah,
So
it's
we
gonna be our
have a
Halloween show.
very, yes, we have a very special, spooky story Halloween show planned for you. We can't wait. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. I don't like being scared, talking about scary things, but I will do it in the spirit of Halloween.
Yes. Yes, there's some really I'm gonna get out my trusty old journal and look up some of the experiences that I've had and some stories and things connected to the paranormal, and which, it's just, it blows my mind because we definitely live in a world that is of all kinds. There are all kinds of crazy things out there and fun and exciting things to explore. So a little chat about the paranormal world and spirit and a little bit of, we'll say, paranormal hunting, or I don't like to call it hunting. What's the word? Detective.
Exploring.
Paranormal exploring. Thank you. I like that better than hunting. That doesn't seem
I
like it's
agree. That sounds like
right.
there's malice to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And this is
Yeah.
not that at all. So,
Yes. All
all
right.
right.
I can't wait.
Me too. It'll be fun. Okay, well,
It'll be
everybody
great.
have a great week. Maren, have a great week.
Thank
And
you. You
we'll see
too.
you all.
Enjoy your beautiful daughter at home.
Thank you.
For lots of snuggles.
We'll
Lots of
do.
love. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
We'll see you
All right.
everyone next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.